Yes, I know, I'm late to the party. Batman Arkham Knight has been out for over a month. A lot of people have already got their reviews out, which means this one's probably not going to get that many. But I decided to sit back and take my time with this one for good reason. I love the Arkham games. I loved Arkham Asylum, I loved Arkham City. Hell, I even enjoyed Arkham Origins, for as much as that's going to get the pitchfork out against me. But with Arkham Knight, it shows what happens when you get a game that is both excellent but extremely flawed. Now, for those of you who have been living under a rock for the past month and haven't been on YouTube or any of the other gaming sites that have pretty much spoiled every last little bit, Batman Arkham Knight is the official end to the Arkham trilogy, Origins not being counted within that trilogy. This all takes place in Gotham City after the events of Arkham City. The Joker is dead, his body is cremated. You see that within the first 15 seconds of this game, unless you decide to wait out an arbitrary period and then you get a nice little surprise. But Scarecrow's decided on Halloween to coat the city in fear gas and trying to basically take over Gotham by making everyone scared, and also, once again, let's try and defeat the Batman. Now, that's the main crux of the story. The other two crux of this is the tale of the Arkham Knight, a mysterious vigilante who seems to know a lot about Batman, how he operates, his moves, his methodology, and everything else. Now, I'll be straight up and say it. The Arkham Knight is Jason Todd, which has really divided the fan base. Personally, I like the Jason Todd Red Hood story, and to see it represented here in the Arkham Knight is excellent. Now, the other part of this, and this is pretty much the saving grace of this game, is we get one final Mark Hamill Joker experience. Yes, the Joker pops back up and pretty much has the best scene in the entire game.
Nobody serenades you but me, Bats. Take it away, boys.
Take me on home. To the asylum. Never alone. In the asylum. Anarchy ruled. It was wild, but through it all you never smiled. Joke's on you. I'm in your head, so look who's laughing now.
Yeah, Joker singing. That is absolutely epic. Other than that, it's very straightforward. You go around, you're beating up thugs, you're taking on Riddler missions, you're doing a lot of little side quests, and to be honest, they're one of the best things about this game, is the side quests, outside of the Riddler crap. The Riddler crap basically gets you doing racing challenges, which piss me off something shocking. Other than that, like, the Professor Pig storyline is excellent. The Penguin events basically have you chasing down a car and then taking out a bunch of thugs to take out a storehouse. Excellently done. Two-Face, you have to stop him robbing banks, or at least his thugs, until the final chapter. There are a lot of really good side stuff in this. It's a pity that the main story with Scarecrow doesn't really compel until you get into the final acts, where the big reveal in the ending is done and things sort of go topsy-turvy. But once again, it's a Joker sequence that is the highlight of that particular thing. Scarecrow's a good villain, as we saw in Arkham Asylum, and I don't know why they couldn't recapture that magic in this one. But the one thing that they really tried to capture but really failed at was the whole thing of the Batmobile. Now, the Batmobile was this great big triumphant idea that they finally get to put the Batmobile in, as everybody's been asking for it since Arkham Asylum, and oh my god, did they botch this up. Basically, the Bat Tank is what everybody calls it, because it's not a Batmobile, it's a Bat Tank. When it's a tank and you have 360-degree movement, it's great, but when you have to drive it as an actual car, it is terrible. A lot of that is due to the extremely bad control styling, and the rest of it just comes down to the fact that having to switch between the two modes all the time, especially in the finale to the Militia storyline with Deathstroke, is a real pain in the butt, because you have to maneuver, transform, shoot, track, and it's just too much for this vehicle to do. They have great innovations, like one of the Riddler challenges is extremely well done because it involves having to lower the Bat Tank down and use it to open up new areas. It was a great use for exploration, not so much as a duck dodge tank mechanic, which is really weird considering I praise the handling of the Bat tank, but at the same time it's not that great of a combat thing. The biggest problem with it all is that the Bat tank is central to everything with this game. It's not just the method of going around and exploring, opening up new areas. It is central to the storyline. You spend at least 75% of the game in the goddamn Batmobile doing stuff that relates to having to use it as a car and a tank and everything else. One particular mission against the Arkham Knight very late in the game has you trying to dip and dodge all this fans and having to roll around walls and everything to get explosives to beat the big mining machine he's driving. And it just doesn't work. I had to go through that so many times that I stopped playing the game 3 times just so I could go and relax, calm my heartbeat down, calm myself down, because the next thing I was going to do was throw my controller through the TV screen. But other than that, the traditional points of Batman, the fighting, the gliding around, it is perfect. They can't stuff this up. And it has been one of the most enjoyable experiences to finally get a very expansive Gotham City to run around and explore. But at the same time, with the Batmobile being so central to it, it just really hurt the game overall. Now, with the DLC content and the season pass, I'm going to be straight up honest with people. Don't bother. The Harley Quinn DLC that you get with this straight out of the game is meh. It's a very short sequence, a couple of fights. There's not really much to it, but it's a real pain in the butt because I wanted to see her integrated like the Catwoman DLC was in Arkham City. You also get another one with the Red Hood taking on Black Mask. Now, again, it could have been longer, it could have been integrated into the story, but instead they're just little standalone separate things that just don't click. They feel very disjointed and very done for the sake of having content. Now, the Batgirl DLC is a bit longer, but that's part of the season pass. I will not recommend getting any of the DLC or the season pass because, one, it is overpriced, the content is not worth it, and to be honest, 95% of it is frigging costumes for Batman and the Batmobile. So, I'm over it. Batman Arkham Knight is what happens when you try to polish something to the point where the imperfections are seen more than the perfection. The game looks excellent, the best looking Batman game I have seen ever, and it's a sad end to the trilogy that they've hit this high point in graphical quality, in storytelling, in character development, only to have it marred by bad ideas that they push down our throats like WWE doing a John Cena push. Do I recommend getting this game? If you can get this game cheap, get it. Personally, here in Australia, the lowest price I've seen is Costco at $67, which is not bad. Americans, if you can find this for about $30-40, go for it. Avoid the DLC, just play the main game and enjoy the story. Hopefully the PC players will get a chance at this, but to be honest, after all that stuff, I don't see them ever doing anything with PC. This is the end of the Arkham Knight game, well, the Arkham series rather, and I for one think it's a great ending to the saga, but at the same time, don't try to innovate when the innovation is going to ruin your product.